The gaming industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the world right now, mostly because of little shits that are buying Fortnite and Call of Duty skins so they can look cool and make their friends jealous. In all seriousness though, it generates huge amounts of money. I'm not talking millions, I'm talking billions, and game publishers realize that. Now, you gotta understand, I don't blame them for trying to make money. They gotta eat. But today's games are very different than what they were in, let's say, before 2010. Due to the greediness of some publishers, DLCs and microtransactions have gotten out of hand. Yes, I'm looking at you, EA and Activision. Some people think that microtransactions shouldn't exist because when you pay $60 for a game, you expect to get everything. While I understand their point of view, and I agree on that regarding single-player games, multiplayer games require servers for them to work, and that shit is not exactly the cheapest thing ever. You need to take into consideration hardware, bandwidth, backbone connections, support team, repair costs, electricity, and a bunch of other shit. I think that buying skins for $1 or maximum $5 for a really cool fucking skin is alright. You help run the servers and game developers have more funds to make the next game even better. But sadly, that is not the case in today's market. To understand the current situation, we need to look back at the past to reflect on the present. I don't want to get all technical on you, but bear with me. This is a graph showing global revenues of the video game industry throughout history. In 1983, the gaming industry crash, which you can clearly see on the graph, happened due to a number of reasons. There were tons of games, literally anyone could make an Atari game and sell it, leading to decrease in overall quality of games. But bad games weren't the only problem. There were too many consoles, just to name a few. Atari 2600, Atari's home pong console, Arcadia 2001, VTech Creative Vision, a bunch of them. The US recession in the early 80s made a lot of people poor, and these people didn't have the money to buy an expensive console such as Atari, which forced retailers to lower the price significantly. This made the consoles available to anyone, and with it, increased the popularity of video games overall. The state of the gaming industry before the great crash of 1983 was in some sense similar to the state we're in right now, in the year 2019. Tons of games are published every month. There are so many games, I don't even know what to play. Despite the large quantity of games and the popularity of the gaming industry, most games are fucking shit. You would think that in such a competitive market, developers would strive for new heights, innovation, and new levels of creativity, but instead, they don't want to take risks and therefore make annual releases of franchises that barely improve throughout the years because taking risks might lead to a decrease in profit. They seem to have a stable gaming network which works, or used to work. In 2000s, we were at the peak of creativity with even developers such as EA making awesome games. In fact, EA is the creator of one of my favorite franchises of all time, SSX. I mean, the sheer creativity they poured into their games is astounding. Just look at Dead Space, Mass Effect, or SSX, and many others. Or look at Activision, Call of Duty Modern Warfare or Modern Warfare 2. These are great games. Compared to them, today's games seem rushed, empty, and of course they're filled to the brim with microtransactions. Then you have all that EA bullshit on how they care about consumers. I mean, whatever, man. Making money seems to have taken the #1 spot on the game publisher's priority list and gave creativity and bug fixes a big fuck you. Today, the internet is flooded with negative news and controversy of the video game industry, and people are pissed. Another problem, in my opinion, is the PvP focus. What is it with game developers making us want to shoot each other all the time? What about cooperative storylines and cooperative multiplayer games? I'll be honest, I fucking suck at PvP, and sometimes I just want to play with my friends and feel like a badass that can kill anyone standing in his way, and not just feel like another fish in the sea. With PvP, there are pay-to-win business models. For example, Rockstar's latest release of Red Dead Redemption 2. The multiplayer aspect of that game is supposedly still in beta, and they already put in the microtransaction system. It is ridiculous, by the way, which enables players to buy gold bars and get game items before reaching the required level, meaning that anyone who pays for this shit can get better guns and dominate other players that own inferior guns just because they only bought the $60 version or the $100 version of the game. This way they force or motivate players to buy gold bars too. Is how their economy is created. Not to mention they basically force you to play hundreds of hours to get the best horse in the game, unless of course you buy gold bars for a measly price of $20. Why is there such shitty economy in recent games though? Well, it's made that way so that publishers can satisfy investors, their shareholders. The problem is that no matter how successful their game is, next year the publisher has to earn even more. This is why you have shit like this. Black Ops 4 sales failed to impress Activision investors. The military shooter game generated more than $500 million in sales worldwide in the first 3 days of release. In short, investors are the dominatrix and publishers are their bitches. And there's the whole Steam and Epic Games Store scandal, which reminds me of the too many consoles problem in 1983. There are so many platforms dividing PC gamers such as Steam, Epic Games Store, Origin, Blizzard Store. That's just on the PC. Then you have PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch and more, which are all great consoles by the way.
Fuck yeah!
But many people speculate that this controversy will pave the way for new developers in 2019, making pissed off players who are tired of AAA games turn to indie games for a change. Why? Well, because indie developers can give players something which AAA companies sometimes can't: creativity and innovation. With game engines such as Unreal Engine and Unity improving substantially every year, indie developers now have more power than ever before. In the past few years, crowdfunding has become really popular for indie games too. Just look at Star Citizen and how much money they managed to acquire through crowdfunding. Maybe even right now, an indie studio is being created which will in years be even more popular than Rockstar Games. Who knows? Through this whole video, I've been saying how horrible AAA games are, but I was only aiming at some of the popular publishers. Despite criticizing Rockstar Games' Red Dead Redemption 2, I must admit that single-player experience is absolutely amazing. And no, I did not forget last year's releases such as God of War 4, Spider-Man, and Fallout 76. I didn't mean that last one. But these kinds of videos have to be made in order not to let the public be okay with shitty game economies and complete milking of our wallets. EA is finally getting what it deserves by Belgium taking away their loot box system, and complete mistrust of their consumers is causing doubt and criticism of Anthem, technically BioWare's game, but EA is the publisher. Angry Joe already talked on his channel about the game's overpriced microtransactions, and many other YouTubers talked about the game's bugs, which cannot possibly be fixed in the next 3 weeks before the game's launch. I'm not even gonna go into the game's graphics downgrade from the E3 trailer. If Anthem isn't successful, EA is fucked. I mean, it'll still have FIFA, but their stock will most likely take a dive. But it's not just EA, there's Activision that is already ruining Blizzard. Since Blizzard's CEO and president Mike Morhaime stepped down, Activision has been paying Blizzard's employees to leave the firm in order to cut costs with intention of developing more games in a shorter span of time, prioritizing quantity over quality. And that, my friends, is not a good thing. I mean, just look at EA. There are a few problems here. Games are unpredictable, for example Anthem's economy. We don't even know what it'll be like. The screenshot they posted was supposedly just one of many iterations. This is not rocket science, just like Angry Joe said. It'd be nice to know what we're buying for a change. Some publishers only care about the money. It's the sad truth. They don't care if people like the game or not. They have a hard-on for money and that's it. But really, it's not their fault the system is like this. We did this. We supported their shitty business models for years now, and it's gotten out of hand. Which is why we must resist now and fix this mess we've made. After all this criticism, I just wanted to take a look at a few highly anticipated games I cannot wait to play, because really they're not all bad. And I want to wash away all this negativity. So, the first one is Cyberpunk 2077. Holy shit, this looks awesome. Then there's Ghost of Tsushima, there's The Last of Us 2, Days Gone, Metro Exodus, Devil May Cry 5, and Gears 5. There's still hope, guys. With that said, if you watched this whole video, I want to thank you so much, and I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a thumbs up and possibly subscribe, you know. So, thank you guys again so much, and we'll see you next time.